Yehovah, King of Kings, supreme ruler over all creation. You alone reign over kings, kingdoms, and the fires of this world. You humble the proud, walk with the faithful, and establish dominion that will never end. Your name is exalted above all earthly power. Yehovah Elohi Yehovah. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Please fill me and lead me, and cover me and stir me, and speak through me with your Ruach Kodesh, that I may speak your written words with boldness and humility to those who listen. I ask all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach's name. Amen. We'll start with the Shema. Listen and obey. Children of Yehovah, pay careful attention and respond. Yehovah is our power and authority. Yehovah works in unity with himself. And you shall act upon your love to Yehovah with your power and authority, with your thoughts and mind, with your entire body, and with all the muchness that you have. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. And behold, now behold. Daniel chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had a gold statue made, 90 feet high and 9 feet wide, which he set up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babal. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, summoned the viceroys, prefects, governors, judges, treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and all the provincial officials to assemble and come to the dedication of the statue which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. The viceroys, prefects, governors, judges, treasuries, counselors, sheriffs, and all the provincial officials assembled for the dedication of the statue which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. They stood in front of the statue that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. They stood in front of the statue that Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and a herald proclaimed, "Peoples, nations, languages, you are ordered that when you hear the sound of the harp, pipe, harp, the horn, pipe, harp, zither, lute, bagpipe, and the rest of the musical instruments, you are to fall down and worship the gold statue that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship it will be thrown immediately into a blazing hot furnace." Therefore, when all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, the pipe, harp, zither, lute, and the rest of the musical instruments, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the gold statue that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. But then some Casdim approached and began denouncing the Jews. They said to Nebuchadnezzar the king, "May the king live forever. Your Majesty, you have been ordered that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, pipe, harp, zither, lute, bagpipe, and the rest of the musical instruments is to fall down and worship the gold statue, and that whoever does not fall down and worship is to be thrown into a blazing hot furnace. There are some Jews whom you have put in charge of the affairs of the province of Babal, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these men, your Majesty, have paid no attention to you. They do not serve your gods, and they do not worship the gold statue you set up." In a raging fury, Nebuchadnezzar ordered that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. When the men had been brought before the king, Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is it true that you neither serve my gods nor worship the gold statue I set up? All right then, if you are prepared, when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, harp, zither, lute, bagpipe, and the rest of the musical instruments, to fall down and worship the gold statue, very well. But if you won't worship, you will immediately be thrown into a blazing hot furnace. And what God will save you from my power then?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, "Your question doesn't require an answer from us, your Majesty. If our God whom we serve is able to save us, he will save us from the blazing hot furnace and from your power. But even if he doesn't, we want you to know, your Majesty, that we will neither serve your gods nor worship the gold statue which you have set up." Nebuchadnezzar became so utterly enraged that his face was distorted with anger against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He ordered the furnace made 7 times hotter than usual. Then he ordered some of the strongest men in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing hot furnace. So these men were tied up in their cloaks, tunics, robes, and other clothes and thrown into the blazing hot furnace. The king's order was so urgent that the furnace so overheated that the men carrying Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were burned to death by the flames. These three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into a blazing hot furnace. Suddenly, Nebuchadnezzar sprang to his feet. Alarmed, he asked his advisors, "Didn't we throw 3 men bound into the flames?" They answered the king, "Yes, of course, your majesty." But he exclaimed, "Look, I see 4 men, not tied up, walking around there in the flames unhurt, and the 4th looks like one of the gods." Nebuchadnezzar approached the opening of the blazing hot furnace and said, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, your servants of El Elyon, come out and come here." Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego emerged from the flames. The viceroys, prefects, governors, and royal advisors who were there saw that the fire had no power over the bodies of these men. Not even their hair was singed. Their clothes looked the same, and they didn't smell of fire. Nebuchadnezzar said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel to deliver his servants who trusted in him. They defied the royal order to the point of being willing to give up their bodies in order not to serve or worship any god but their own God. Therefore, I herewith decree that anyone, no matter from which people, nation, or language, who says anything to insult the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is to be torn limb from limb, and his house is to be reduced to rubble, because there is no other God who can save like this." Then the king gave Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego higher rank and province above all. The following letter was sent out from Nebuchadnezzar the king to all the peoples, nations, and languages living throughout the earth. Shalom Rav, abundant peace. I am pleased to recount the signs and wonders which the Most High God has done for me. How great are his signs, how powerful his wonders. His kingdom lasts forever, and he rules all generations. How can we learn to love our Creator after reading this fascinating miracle chapter 3 of Daniel? We can love Yehovah by choosing allegiance to him over safety or social approval. Love Yehovah by standing firm in trials, believing he is present in every fire. Love Yehovah by glorifying him whether he delivers or not. How can we love our neighbors as Yeshua loves us? By refusing to compromise our faith, even when others bow to pressure. Our stand strengthens theirs. How can we bear one another's burdens today? By standing beside the faithful in their trials, refusing to let them go through the fire alone. What are the top 3 fruits of the Spirit found? 1. Faithfulness. They would not bow even at the risk of death. 2. Courage. Their bold declaration in the face of wrath reveals unshakable trust. 3. Peace. They faced the furnace without panic, anchored in Yehovah's sovereignty. What is the Hebrew word that encapsulates this chapter? Tanur. Reference, verse 6. Be thrown immediately into a blazing hot furnace. Anchor sentence. The furnace becomes not a place of destruction, but of divine encounter, where faith is refined, and Yehovah walks in the fire with his people. Interpretation. In the furnace, the covenant, except for insight, Tanur. Interpretation. In the furnace, the covenant secures life through divine connection, revealed in authority. Yehovah signs his presence in the fire, transforming suffering into testimony. How can we find Yeshua in the scriptures? Daniel 3, verse 25. A 4th man who looks like the son of the gods mirrors the presence of Yeshua, walking with his people in tribulation. The refusal to bow to a false image foreshadows Messiah's call to exclusive worship, Matthew 4 verse 10. The three men emerge unharmed, like resurrection power, showing victory over death when one stands with the Son. Mitzvah response, Torah-based, mitzvah. Exodus 20 verses 4 and 5. Do not make for yourself a carved image. A response might look like this: I will not bow to any idol, ideology, or earthly pleasure, even when tested by fire. I will worship only Yehovah. Hebrew declaration: Yehovah itanu batok ha'esh velo nazahu. Yehovah is with us in the fire, and we are not harmed. We'll end with the Aaronic blessing using the name. Yehovah will kneel before you presenting gifts, and he will guard you with a hedge of protection. Yehovah will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward you, bringing order, and he'll provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yehovah lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you, set in place all you need to be whole and complete. Shalom, shalom.